my whole goal, or really anyone's goal with investing, is to replace your active income, right? The time that you spend working to make an income, you want to replace that with something where you don't have to work. And so that's kind of, for me, where dividend investing comes in. You can track your cash flow and see how close you're getting to replacing your active income.
I already know that you're interested in dividends, and you're probably already investing a little bit in dividends. But if you're ready to level up and start thinking like a true dividend investor, this is the video for you. As you know, I am a huge advocate for you getting information from reputable places and not just taking my word for it or any one person's word for it in any of this investing space. Well, today I'm going to do an interview with Ryne Williams, who has an amazing YouTube channel, and I've talked about it on this channel before. His content is all things dividends. And so since today's topic is all about dividends and dividend investing and what to do to get started as a dividend investor, I thought might as well go to the source. Hey everybody, welcome. I have Ryne Williams with me today. Super excited. He is a dividend investor and has a super awesome channel that I have linked to down below. But enough of me talking. Let's hear what he has to say. So Ryan, just a little bit about yourself. How's life, man?
Man, I'm living the dream over here. So like Nolan said, I'm a dividend investor. I make videos here on YouTube, kind of documenting my investing journey and, showing people the good way of dividend investing. And I'm up here in Sacramento, California. So not too far from your neck of the woods, Nolan.
Yeah, definitely. California boys, let's go.
That's right.
All right, so we'll just jump right into it. What got you into specifically dividend investing? And actually before that, can you just give me a breakdown of what your portfolio somewhat looks like?
Yeah, so my portfolio is comprised 100% of dividend paying stocks. That's just my thing. It resonates really well with me. And how I got into it, I'll kind of give you the Spark Notes version. I mean, when I was younger, my parents started a custodian account for me. You familiar with what those are?
Yeah.
Probably it was 11, 12, 13. And every year for Christmas, birthdays, whatever, it wasn't really presents like gifts that kids, teenagers might want. It was money for my Charles Schwab account. Nice. And so just, over the years, just getting Christmas money kind of started me down that path without me really having an interest in it at that time. Because when you're, that young, who cares about that stuff?
Yeah.
But when I got to be probably like 25 or 26, so a handful of years ago, a couple years ago, something hit me. I don't know exactly what it was, but I started to really understand the importance, I guess, of investing in general. And at that point, I turned to, I guess, where a lot of people these days turn to learn things and learn new skills. I just looked to YouTube and somehow stumbled upon dividend investing. And I'd been familiar with dividends a little bit, like the concept, in thinking long term. My whole goal, or really anyone's goal with investing, is to replace your active income, right? The time that you spend working to make an income, you want to replace that with something where you don't have to work. And so that's kind of, for me, where dividend investing comes in. It's just, like I said, it's very tangible. You can track your cash flow and see how close you're getting to replacing your active income or your W-2 job just from having that passive income coming in.
At the end of the day, a dividend is 2%, 3%, 5% of how much you're putting in. And so if you have $100 invested, 5% of that's $5. That's not changing very much. So when then does it start getting excited?
That's a really good question. And I'll admit, like, that in itself will turn a lot of people off from this style of investing because it is a slow burn. Like, it's a grind. It takes, as I'm sure Nolan has told you guys, it takes like decades for this to really become an effective and worthwhile thing, I think. But after a couple of years, you do start to see some faster progress. I really think if you stay consistent with something like this for even 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're going to be very surprised at how quickly this portfolio can grow. I mean, or your portfolio can grow. And kind of like you were said, sure, when you first start off, maybe you're getting $5 in dividends here, $5 there, $2 here. But that's where compound interest comes in. And that's where it becomes so powerful, because you take that $5, that $2, whatever, and you reinvest it back in your portfolio, that's going to go then and buy more shares for you. So the next time you get a dividend, it's not $5, it's maybe $5.20. Well, reinvest that. Then you're coming back next time, you're getting $5.50. And then it becomes what we call like the snowball effect, right? That snowball it's rolling, it's going down that hill. And over time, if you just allow it to do its thing, it can grow to then be at a point where it's generating thousands per month. I know personally, my own little portfolio, my $40,000 portfolio has grown to a place where it started off generating like $100 a year in dividends, nothing at all, to now generating about $150 every single month. So almost $2,000 a year just in the last couple of years. So, just like anything else, anything worthwhile takes time. It takes discipline. And truth be told, I think that is one of the things that does attract me to this style of investing. It's not easy, but it is certainly worth it.
It's kind of that thing that you're talking about, like, oh, this is cool, $10 this month. All right, sweet, $15, 20, 150. You're starting to be able to like pay off a phone bill. Then you're paying off like a car payment and then a mortgage payment. And then, whoa, what happened? I'm replacing my full-time job and I can go to the beach whenever I want. Like, that's legit.
It's motivated me outside of investing to look for ways to increase my active income, to be able to fund my portfolio more, because the more you can fund your portfolio and contribute and build up your positions and buy more shares, it's like the sooner you can accumulate that cash flow and let it reinvest, and it all just becomes a much quicker process. So it's taught me a lot of great things just outside of investing, just in terms of discipline. And it's made me think, like, what do I want out of life? Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? What impact do I want to make? And I think having some passive income coming in any capacity can make those things easier to accomplish, can help cushion a little bit,
So I want to go back to one of the things that you said, and you did differentiate between dividends versus growth versus value to a certain extent, right? Why do you think you personally picked dividend stocks versus growth stocks?
I think you need to think about a few different things. Number one, just think of your own temperament, and correlate that to the risk you're willing to take on. I think many, and let me know your thoughts on this too, I think many would consider dividend investing to be a lower risk style of investing compared to investing in growth stocks, certainly investing in cryptocurrencies. And so I know for me personally, I wanted something that I didn't have to, if I didn't want to, I didn't have to look at 5 times a day, 6 times a day, because I was so stressed out to see what the share price was going to do. I still look at my portfolio that often anyway, but not because of stress. So I think that was definitely something that was attractive to me. And also, once you learn a little bit more about dividends, it's not sexy. It's, like I said, it's a slow burn, but I think once it kind of starts to click for you, you understand that in really any market environment, as a dividend investor, you win. When the share price of your stocks go up, fantastic. You're generating a better, return or more unrealized gain. And when the stocks go down in share price, that's even better, because the primary objective is to create that income, right? And so if you have a stock that's paying a $5 dividend, it's $100 per share. Well, if that $100 per share goes down to $50 per share, these are just hypothetical numbers, you're still getting that $5 dividend. So you're able to buy that same amount of cash flow for half the price. And that's not a bad deal. And so really, in any condition, no matter which direction this share price is going, you as a dividend investor can benefit from that. And that's another thing too. I really like the fact that you're not so much slave to the share price, and your returns and your ability to benefit aren't 100% tied to what the share price is going to do, which is completely out of your control.
That's really good. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea for sure, because I know when I first started, I was all... I guess I was 50-50 growth to value, but dividends weren't a thought in my mind. It was, I'm doing this so that I have somewhat of a nest egg down the road, and then I'm just going to draw down that nest egg, right? Like if I have $1 million, I can take out 4%, and from that I can continue to keep that thing building and probably still be able to live my life as well. Something of that nature. But as I grow in this, I'm starting to look a lot more at cash flow, and cash flowing assets are more important for all the things that you've talked about, because I think the education up until now has been very heavily skewed onto make sure that your retirement is good and make sure that you're investing for retirement, make sure you're using that compound interest. And that's important, but what if you want to live right now? Like, what if you want to do something specific that you want to do right now? And so I think that dividends provide that better.
And I think everything has its place. It just depends on, I guess, why you're investing. If I was looking to start a college fund for my kids, which I don't have yet, but if I'm looking to do that, I probably wouldn't invest as much in dividend stocks. I might be looking for something that's going to generate more of an unrealized gain return,
Right.
but where the share price is going to go up. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the context of why you're doing it as well.
Good. That's good that you said that, because that's what I say too. So I'm glad. It's there's always like an it depends, right? Like, all right,
Totally,
let's
man.
actually step it back. Like, what is the overall goal? I can't say what you should invest in without knowing all your facts.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like I was kind of saying earlier, this is just how I like to invest. Everyone's different, and no slight to anyone who invests in other things besides dividend stocks. I think investing in any sort of capacity is better than none at all. And I think that's what's important.
So what are the first couple of things that you look for when deciding on a new stock to throw into your portfolio or a new ETF? Like,
well, Nolan, the only thing I look at is the yield. And my rule of thumb is the higher the better. And that's it. No, I'm just
nice.
messing around.
I was like, oh, good. Let's. No, I feel.
I don't know about this guy anymore. No,
yeah, I was like, really?
Aside,
That's it?
all joking aside, the first couple of things I look at when considering a potential investment, or when I first start researching a new stock, maybe someone's just, told me a ticker symbol to look up. The first couple things I do, number one, I'll go and look at the dividend stats. That's important, but it's not just about the yield, guys. I was totally joking around a moment ago. With dividend stocks, you want to see, there's different kinds of dividend stocks. You do have your high yielders, which are nice, can come with some risk. You also have your lower yielders, but high growth. That's nice too if you're younger like Nolan and myself, and you've got time to let it compound. And so, that's one of the things I look at is what's going on with the dividend stats. How is the dividend yield looking? Where's the payout ratio? How has the dividend been growing? How quickly? And also how long have they been growing the dividend for? Because the longer dividend growth history, really, in my opinion, the better. And the next thing I'll look at is the valuation. And there's a few metrics, a few quick, easy metrics that anyone can look at and decipher. Probably the most notable one is the PE ratio. So where's the PE ratio at? And a good rule of thumb, at least one that I follow for your typical companies like a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or an Apple or a Starbucks is, and once again, it depends, applies here as well.
Yeah.
But general rule of thumb, like 20 and below could be kind of considered, that's kind of what we look and say, okay, it's not at a bad value right now. It might be worth pulling the trigger on, but then you got to do further research from there. And that's when you start getting into the financials, going into the income statement, going into the balance sheet, going into the statement of cash flows, and kind of learning the story of what's going on with the company financially. And I know for me personally, especially when it comes to looking at the dividend stats, I'm comparing the prospective stocks dividend stats to what's already in my portfolio and saying, number one, could this potentially have a place in my portfolio based on what I already have? And based on the dividend stats, is it even worth it to start this new position? Or do I have something that provides a better, dividend return or more income or more growth or something like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's great. I think that it's good that you have a process and that you have a couple of things that you actually look at before, diving in or even considering it. For me, and I don't know if this is something that you do as well, but a lot of the times I look more at the qualitative factors more than the quantitative factors. So instead of just looking at the numbers, specifically, I look at, competitive advantage and things like looking up the CEO and their management style and what has happened, like turnover ratio, things like that, where we can start to put together, like you kind of were alluding to, just a bigger picture of what is this company all about.
Yeah. And it's important, no matter which order you do it, it's important to look at all of these things. Look at these stocks and these companies from a holistic point of view, because at the end of the day, and this is something that a lot of people don't quite understand, especially those who are just getting into the market, is all these ticker symbols that go up and down in share price, all these stocks that you see, they're existing entities, they're living and breathing businesses, and right. So we need to look at them as such. At the same time, for dividend investors, it's especially important to do all of that due diligence and spend time going through that, because you're making a long-term commitment. In most cases, people don't flip dividend stocks. I mean, it's a buy and hold strategy for a long period of time. Like if you buy a dividend stock, in a lot of cases, you're buying it to never sell it.
Yeah, definitely. That makes me think of Warren Buffett, right? And the way that he invests, a lot of my style comes from that style. And it's just, you're buying a business and you're going to hold on to it. And I think that it's worked out pretty well for him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, for you personally, what do you think about ETFs versus individual stocks?
Man, that's such a good question. Personally, so I have two portfolios. I've got one taxable brokerage account, my main portfolio. That's pretty much all individual dividend stocks, save for a couple of those covered called ETFs. My second portfolio is a retirement account. It's a Roth IRA, totally hands-off, totally passive. That is all ETFs. I just have that spread across 5 different ETFs.
And what are those ETFs, if you don't mind?
Let me see. Okay, SCHD, I think VOO's in there, VOO. VBR, VYMI, and I don't remember the 5th one off the top of my head. But for the most part, it's just different Vanguard ETFs and then SCHD. And different purposes. Like I wanted my Roth IRA to be hands-off. I didn't want to really ever have to think about it. And I really don't, like I forget I even have that portfolio. That's how I wanted it though.
Yeah.
With my main brokerage account, I'm much more active in there. And so that's why I wanted to hold individual positions there, because it's fun for me to research these companies and start new positions and kind of customize my portfolio to fit my liking. And I guess long story short, different purposes. And so when it comes to a beginner, especially, I would always recommend like just start with ETFs. It's going to get you some skin in the game. Okay. You're going to start, getting a feel for how the market works, the daily ups and downs, start collecting some dividend income, but it's going to mitigate so much risk, especially if you invest in like a VTI, which has over 4,000 different stocks just within that one ETF. It's just a big basket of stocks. Or SCHD, which has, I think, somewhere just over 100. Mm-hmm. I could have that wrong, but somewhere just over 100 different stocks. So just by buying that one ETF, you're so diverse.
What would be, as a dividend investor, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give to somebody maybe getting into dividend investing?
One piece of advice for someone looking into starting dividend investing. I mean, have patience. Because I get it. It's not an exciting thing at first. Getting pennies in dividends, it's not exciting, but have patience and stick with it. I promise you do that for a couple of years, you're going to be surprised at how quickly those dividends will have grown. It's not uncommon to see year over year gains in income that are 30, 40, 50% compared to last year. It's just the discipline to stay consistent and keep contributing to your portfolio, despite how slow the growth can be sometimes.
I'm going to hit you with a couple rapid fire questions that have nothing to do with financials probably, but I want to get to know you a little bit. All right, number one, what do you do for a living?
So my day job is in digital marketing. We manage the social media of different businesses.
Awesome.
And then YouTube, I consider YouTube not a full-time job as far as money goes, but time-wise, it's a full-time job. So
yeah, or and then some. What's your favorite band or musician?
Oh God, Nolan, how can I choose just one? Can I give you a few?
Yeah, give me a few.
Okay, I'm all over the place. Okay, so Blink-182 is definitely up there. Big Blink guy, big Beatles guy. I love Snoop Dogg. I love Jay-Z. Gosh, man. Let me give you one more. Rod Stewart. Kind of random. Love Rod Stewart.
Yeah,
you know Rod Stewart?
I do know Rod Stewart. Yeah, I just know that was all over the place. Well done.
So all over the place. Yeah.
What's your favorite hobby outside of financials or things like that?
Working out. I really enjoy lifting weights and health and fitness in all capacities. I'm not a big CrossFit guy like you, Nolan, but bodybuilding and slight powerlifting is kind of my jam.
My favorite sports team or athlete?
I would say Chad Muska.
Oh, nice. You know him? Skateboarding?
Yeah, I'm not a big normal sports guy.
Hey, that's a sport, man. Getting out and getting moving. I like it. Lastly, do you have a motto for life or business? Something that you point back to or a sentence or a phrase? Not
one in particular, but I just try so hard to build my life around doing things I enjoy. It's not easy, but I'm pretty against the whole 9 to 5 thing was never my thing. I never wanted to do that. And so I'm always trying to look for ways to, I don't know, in general, just build my life around things I enjoy, whether it's, stocks or working out or whatever. Good
for all of us to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for giving us that insight into a real life dividend investor's mind. And thanks, man. We got to do this again soon.
Dude, anytime. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.